Yeah, then. Jai Janendra, everyone, welcome. My name is Archana Jain, and welcome to the afternoon session of JVB Paryushan Parv. Vandami Naman Sami Samnichis, and all the Jain Shravak Rachna का सबको बहुत बहुत जय जिनेंद्र. आप में से जो भी सवेरे वाले सेशन में वंदामी के प्रेजेंट होंगे उन्होंने लाभ लिया होगा कल्प सूत्र का, अंतगर सूत्र का, और उससे भी ज्यादा आज बात किया था खाद्य संयम का. So following that, I have the pleasure today to introduce a detailed talk on how immunity is directly related with our foods. And to present this, it is Dr. Pratap Sancheti from Jodhpur. He is in the present situation of COVID, when we are all looking at our immunity and also running this, also looking at it so closely. Our speaker today, he's the most qualified to present to us today, a neurologist by profession, director of research at the Spiritual Training Center, Research Foundation, Mumbai, and also a visiting professor at JVB, Ladnu, Rajasthan. Dr. Sancheti, welcome. You have about 45 minutes for your presentation, and we shall leave 15 minutes for any questions from the audience. And we shall finish on time. So everyone, आप लोग सब नोट करिए प्रेजेंटेशन के दौरान कि क्या-क्या क्वेश्चंस आते हैं, और मेरे को चैट में आप क्वेश्चंस डाल सकते हैं. तो जिनके क्वेश्चंस आएंगे उनको अनम्यूट करके after the presentation we can take it from there. So welcome, Dr. Sancheti.
Just let me share the screen and I'll be available.
Yes.
I'm trying to share the screen. Is it visible now?
Yes, your screen is very visible. Yes, please carry on.
Okay. The full screen is not coming. I'm just trying to look into. Okay.
If you press the,
yeah,
it's
no. I'm new to. This is the mute, and this ribbon is coming on the. Yeah, now it is coming. Yeah, now it's fine. It's fine. Yes. I think now. Thanks a lot.
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks, Archana ji, for the kind introduction. Respected Samni ji, team JVBI, London, and dear participants. Welcome everyone to this talk, which is being held today on the first day of Paryushan. The topic of my talk is of great importance, more so during the current pandemic situation of the COVID-19. Though the word immunity has been used in many contexts, be it criminal, immunity from the punishment, immunity from the proceedings, or immunity from the disease which we medically use. So I'll be taking to the medical aspect of the immunity, where we talk about how we deal with the pathogens and the foreign or noxious substances. To talk to you, I've got a 4-stage menu. I'll be introducing you the immunity in short, not going into the technical details. Then how the dietary practices can be improved, how the meditation can come into the play. And before I conclude, after I conclude, I'll submit myself to you for your kind comments and the inputs. Immunity, as we know, is the ability to resist infection or the disease. That's an essential one. But mind you, it's not a system. It is a system. It is a functional system, but not an organ like we have got a liver, spleen, or any other one. And most body tissues have got the immune cells, but they are concentrated in the areas like lymph nodes, thymus, spleen, bone marrows, and so on and so forth. Now full screen has come. Yeah, the bone marrow. Now, as we know that the basic aim of immunity is have the defense against the pathogens, be it viruses, bacteria, and any other organisms which are there. In addition, it has got the function of removal of worn out cells, like old RBCs and old tissues. It destroys the abnormal cells. Like we all develop cancerous cells, but they don't proliferate because the immunity is there to handle it. Then organ transplant. Foreign cells are not recognized, or the blood transfer, the abnormal blood groups, they are not recognized by the body. So they are rejected by this. But when immunity itself becomes abnormal, it manifests in disease like allergies or the autoimmune disease. These are the plethora of the cells, be it lymphoid cells or the bone marrow cells.
You might have dropped, and we lost you there for a few seconds, but you may be back now.
Now it's all right?
Yes, please carry on.
There are plethora of the cells, be it lymphoid cells, which I talked just now, lymph nodes, thymus, spleen, then on bone marrow cells. Thymus is also an important organ. It produces the T cells. In addition, the natural killer lymphocytes, B lymphocytes, which are there in the humoral antibodies or the circulating antibodies. The question comes, how does the immune system works or operates? It operates in the two ways. One is non-specific defenses, as we call it, as the first line defense in the battlefield, where everything and every noxious agent will be dealt with. We have got a mechanical barriers like skin, mucous membranes. Then we have got other secretions like tears, cilia, mucus itself, or the stomach acids, which flush out or destroys the bacteria. In addition, in our body, we have got a one way of like passing urine, passing stool is a one way. It doesn't go retrograde to the body itself. In addition, the specific defense or the acquired immunity is the infection once pathogen enters the body. This is the non-innate immunity is where the pathogen hasn't entered. Before they enter, they are dealt in the body. And here the WBC and the phagocyte cells, they come into the play. And there are two types of immunities. Either it could be active or the passive. Active means body prepare itself. Body generates the antibodies when you get either infected or you get vaccinated, like this child is getting vaccinated and develop the antibodies. Passive is when it is transfused to you, most common being mother's milk, you know everyone. And we also in the hospital inject the antibodies which are prepared in the labs and we inject. So this is a passive antibodies. To come to the further on the immunity, as I told you, innate or it is genetically or it is there in the body itself. And adaptive is when it comes to us when we are exposed to an infection. As the name suggests, innate, it's a rapid and non-specific. And acquired is a very, very rapid, is a slow, I'm sorry, it's a wrong, it's a long, slow and specific response. And to talk to you, we have got external innate immunity and the internal innate immunities. External is with the skin, mucous membrane, secretions I just now enumerated. And the internal defenses are because of the cells, phagocytic cells, inflammatory response, natural killer cells. So there are so many cells which are there, which deals with the internal one. But once the organisms enter, there is a acquired immunity, which is again of the two types, humoral response, which means the formation of the antibodies, which circulates all over the body. And second is the local one, cell-mediated immunity, where the cells itself or the organ itself deals with the organisms. So these are the invading organisms dealt at the three levels, external defenses, internal defenses, and the acquired immunity. Now these are the anatomical barriers. Either it can be at nose, mouth, all over skin, lungs. Before, whenever we got a cough, whenever we get an irritant or an object which is not there compatible in the stomach, hydrochloric acid neutralizes many of the organisms and the noxious substances.
She touched my bum. She isn't allowed to.
Then I already told that there is a one-way passage
But
from the passing stool and in the urine. There is a one-way passage. So there is from the retrograde, from the below upward, the infection doesn't travel. That's the main thing. What happens that in addition to these anatomical or mechanical barriers, there are biological barriers also. These all organs which we have enumerated here, they are loaded with the trillions of the bacteria or the microorganisms, of which 1,000, approximate 1,000, they are there to help us in fighting the offending organisms. Now how they fight, either they compete with the nutrition or the space, or they themselves sometimes produce antibodies. So this is how it operates. First, external defenses, insufficient or fails, internal defenses comes in. It also fails, then the humoral or the acquired immunity and the cell-mediated immunity comes into the play. So this is the stepwise or the addition-wise. They can run parallel, they can run serially. These are the cells which are there in the innate immunity or the non-specific immunity. We have got a WBCs, dendritic cells in the brain, macrophages, mast cells. And in adaptive immunity, we have got a T cells, B cells, plasma cells, and many more. I'm not going to confuse you with all these points, but there are many. But just to simplify for our understanding, immunity can be divided into the two, innate immunity, immediate and widespread. I'm just recapitulating it. It can be skin and mucous membrane and non-specific internal defenses, which could be either a cellular, macrophages, NK cells, or the natural killer cells, interferon and complements like chemicals, and physiological responses like inflammation and the fever. Whereas the acquired immunity or adaptive immunity is a delayed and specific, mainly depend on the two types of the cells, T cells and the B cells. And some of the B cells specifically are the antibody synthesizing cells like plasma cells. And what all this leads to when it becomes extreme, not dealt in a regular way, chemically it leads to inflammation, characterized by pain, temperature, redness, swelling, and so on and so forth. And they are the multiple. Now, these inflammation can be result of the cellular, that is the local cellular reactions, or the extracellular, which the antibodies come from the outside. And these are the cells which are there. Coming to the second portion of my talk, how to improve the health, being proactive. That's the main. We suffer suppression of the immunity as a result of old age, toxins, exposure to the toxins either in the air or in the water or in the food, consumption of the alcohol, poor diet, lack of sleep, long physical and mental illnesses. Like all these factors are operative in the acute stage of our pandemic, just now we witnessed. And there are many areas where we can attack on this one. And what I'll be considering is power of the mind, food and drink, family and co-workers, and recharge means sleep and refresh. So these are the various steps which we can take. Have the adequate sleep. I'll be talking a little more. Get vaccinated. We all know we are getting it done. A balanced diet. That's one of the important points. Stay away from the stress. It's in our hand. Stay physically active. Drink adequate water. Avoid alcohol, tobacco, and addictive drugs. Practice yoga and meditation. We'll be talking on this one. If you are diabetic or the blood hypertensive, keep it under control. And mental healthy relationships and with your loved ones. So the socially, it is equally important than the all physical measures. Specific to the diets, these diets which are rich in the micronutrients, macronutrients, and phytonutrients, they are in the fruits, greens, vegetables, nuts, and whole grains. They have got crucial role in the metabolic pathway for optimal immune functions. They improve and enhance both innate and adaptive immune functions. They regulate immune functions. They keep inflammation and tissue damage under control. What important is they aid in immune memory functions. Means once you are exposed to, like you are exposed to the corona, COVID, the second attack of COVID will be either a smaller one or a slower one, or it may not be there at all. Then we have got a diet which is rich in the probiotic and the prebiotic bacteria in gut to enhance immune functions. What importance is, as a human being, 7% of our genome is dedicated to the immune defenses. As I pointed out earlier, malnutrition weakens the immune system. Then both fat solubles and the water soluble vitamins, they aid. In addition, there are minerals like zinc, strontium, iron, copper, phytonutrients. They all help in the immune functions. They are critical for the all immune cells like T cells, B cells, and NK cells. Specific to the diet and COVID, a healthy diet with antioxidants, anti-inflammatory, and immune modulatory properties is what we are consuming. And these all prescriptions are being made. But is there an immunogenic diet? Doubt is there. This immune diet is supposed to have beneficial effect on the immune system. However, as of now, there is no proven home remedy to protect, but they are good agents to inculcate in our diet to develop possibly a good, strong immune systems. Examples are yogurts, turmeric, natural antivirus food like tulsi leaves, garlic, ginger, vitamins, zinc, macronutrients like fat, carbohydrate, and proteins, all in moderation. Specific micronutrient like vitamin, minerals, and water. Free radicals and antioxidants. Antioxidants. These are the one. Some of we will be talking little more in the subsequent lecture. But I have got three medical important. These are the general, but three medical or scientifically things. One is the circadian hygiene, very well taught in our Jainism. Night eating is not there in our religion, particularly in the Payushan. But we are born, or we are not born, we are inflicted with the night eating syndromes. And that is there possibly in the human being the most common. It has been seen that a good coordination between feeding time and activity is very important to develop the health and the immune functions. The environment light cycles through the melanocytes promote microbiota in the intestine, and it enhances the intestinal immunity. Even it has been seen the good microbiota, it generates rhythm in the antimicrobial protein. So if you are with the circadian rhythm, your antimicrobial proteins are better in the intestine to deal with any incoming microbes. Circadian regulation, it also has been seen that if you are following the circadian rhythm, that's avoiding night feed, there is a fluctuation in the various hormones like cortisol, insulin, and thyroid is much less. This shows that your stress level doesn't fluctuate too much, harming your body. And there are many studies, even in 2021, they have been reported. It's word about gut biome and immunity. The immunity there, so the gut and brain axis is one of the important area of research in the science currently. The gut, it has been seen that it affects neurological functions, endocrinological functions, and immunological functions. Our body is a host of trillions of microbes. Mostly they are in the intestine, but almost spread all over the body. And the gut microbes, the major determinant for that is the diet, type of diet and the time of the diet. Research is there. Where is the major site of immune activity in these gut microbes? What we have seen that these microbes, they break down the short chain fatty acids, which stimulates immunological cells and the immunological functions. It has been seen high fiber plant rich diet, again with the Jainism very scientifically given, whole grains, legumes, fruit, and vegetables. Two important concepts which are coming up, probiotic food and the prebiotic food. Probiotic are the ones, they are with the lactobacillus in the yogurt and fermented soya, fermented cheese, fermented milk, pickles. So these are the food which are rich in the probiotic organisms, and they are prebiotic are which stimulates the development of the these lactobacillus or the commensal organisms. Examples are the garlic, onion, bananas, asparagus, oatmeals. Oatmeals is one of the fantastic thing which can be given to these people, so to stimulate the immunity. Honey, maple syrup, and so on and so forth. Another important point which I wish to discuss is the caloric restrictions and the immunity. We know the Payushan is famous for or is synonym with the calorie restriction and the fast. It, apart from its own value of the tap, it has got the health benefit also. Well known is the weight reduction and the BMI improvement. What important is that it influences our immunity as well. It strengthens body resistance to the infections. It primes the immune responses. What important is, it doesn't affect the fasting, any adverse effect of the fasting on the immune system. It doesn't affect, it doesn't weaken you. People feel that it works through the autophagy, the famous slogan which is coming up again and again. Its private role in infant innate and the adaptive immunity. So autophagy is one of the important points which occurs with the fasting and stimulates the removal of dead cells, and these dead cells, they can be used as a food for the body. And so this is the recent study, intermittent fasting and host defense against COVID-2 infections in the 2002 studies. A short word about the sleep. I'm not going to touch right now, but treatment of sleep disturbance is perhaps the third pillar after diet and physical activity. This is the third pillar in improvement in the infections. So if we are having a good sleep, so 6 to 8 hours, depending upon the age and your activity, 6 to 8 hours is one of the important points. I'm not going to deal this one in the future, in the further. Sorry. It's not, yeah. Though this is a sermon, buy from greengrocer or store and not from chemist. That's what the basic dietary element is there. While the industry supports buying it from chemist or the prepared formulas, but we can assure you that we have got enough in the stores and the greengrocer shops. What we need in a COVID time or in the any infection or stressful time, fat less than 30 grams, salt less than 5 grams, sugar to the minimum. While it's incorrect to tell our younger colleagues to not to have processed food, but we can always say that you have the processed food after consuming basic food. If that can be adapted, the quantity will go down and you will not suffer from the malnutrition. Maintain ideal body weight, BMI 18.5 to 25. Have at least minimum walk and the physical activity to reduce the stress and increase immunity. What important is hydrate, hydrate, and hydrate. Good amount of water is needed, not that you have to overhydrate it. And of course, this sermon always goes, avoid smoking and alcohol. There are plenty of food items available in the market. And we all know fruits, citrus fruits, seasonal vegetables, condiments, legumes, curd. I was only worrying or thinking that in pollution time, when we are forbidden to take green vegetables or the fruits, the only thing which is are the legumes, rice, wheat, and condiments. But in other times, we can have all this one. Coming to the next item, industry is flourishing with the immune system with guided meditation. Meditation has become a buzz and being utilized by the industry to the maximum. Both philosophical methods as well as the electronic methods, they are using meditation as a guide to boost immune system. But I can assure you that you don't need a big investment or it's a practice. Meditation is a practice which you have to do it yourself and not with the help of anything. To introduce you short, it's an exercise of relaxing body, both physically and mentally. And additional element is awakening of the spirit or awakening of the consciousness. This is much more important. rather than relaxing body. And this is a prerequisite, and that is the requisite. It increases consciousness or awareness. Understanding of self and others is a byproduct of the meditation. Two major types, I'm not going to discuss them in detail. Concentrative, where you concentrate on a particular object, action, or word, or anything which you concentrate on a one and leaving all other things. So concentrate on the one and remove all the other distractions. Whereas the open-mindedness is practicing or maintaining a non-judgmental state of heightened or complete awareness of one's thought, emotions, experience. So basic important is non-judgmental state and experience on a moment-to-moment basis. And with the fully aware, it's not that you are unconscious during that period or you are not unresponsive during that period. Various studies have given many benefits. What important point is that it improves the immunity. That is one important point. It improves physical, emotional, psychological, and spirit. But my important is that improves the immune functions. The last one, decreases stress hormones, inflammatory molecules, and immune functions. I'm going to enlarge on that one. In one of the study done on the college students, young college students, what they've noted many benefits, but enhances immune system was one of the important conclusions. While my today's talk doesn't cover yoga positions, but there are many positions which are thought to improve the immunity, though scientifically the proof is yet lacking. Recharge body, vital organs functioning very well and fight oxidative stress. There are studies which shows the chemical which are like toxins, inflammatory products, degenerative products, they go down. This has come, they really proved it, that the ACTH, the cortisol stimulating hormone, and the beta endorphins, they go down. Similarly, the cells, less increase in the inflammatory cells. So these are the points which have been touched in the laboratory, partially proved. We have to have a conclusive proof on the meditation and the immunity. This is another budge which is coming, psychoneuroimmunology, PNI. It studies relationship between psychological states and the immune response. This has become a fashion word, not in the academic, but in the philosophical world also. It has been seen that yoga asanas and the meditation give natural support to immune systems. What we have seen and confirmed that there is a shift in autonomic nervous system with a reduction in sympathetic and increase in parasympathetic tone. Concurrent with that, there is a lowering of the stress hormone. And so once the stress hormone is less, immunity is not used in a big way. So it is a rescue from the compromise. In addition, meditation and the yoga that stimulates lung to increase the lymph flow in our body, so it removes the toxin faster. It has been seen that the research has been done and confirmed that regular practice of 20 minutes pranayama or meditation increases endorphin, the feel-good chemicals, and reduction in the cortisol stress hormone. This is again a conclusive proof which is there and has to be translated into the clinical practice. What we were doing in the non-specific way, with the fMRI, functional MRI studies, we have confirmed it on the changes in the brain itself. And it has been seen after 8 weeks meditation, robust immune system with better stress regulation comes into the play. There is a faster reduction in cortisol whenever there is a stressful task. Stress is a is a must for a living person. Similarly, the rise in cortisol is also must. But what we suffer is persistent increase in the cortisol. Meditation brings down this cortisol level faster than the earlier one. And we have seen that the signals in the dorsolateral frontal cortex, parietal cortex, temporal lobe, and so, and almost all areas, they show the blinking with the meditations. In contrast to this one, amygdala, which is an area where our violence or the hyperactivity comes in, it becomes small with the decreased gray matter. So what has been concluded, meditation activates neural structures in attention, sensory processing, and control of the autonomic nervous system. And there are many more yet to be come out. And there many studies are coming up, and they are conclusively giving these conclusions. Last portion of my talk. Having talked to you various things, what are there, what we say, the proof of the pudding is in the taste. And what's NK activity is the natural killer activities, how much they get advantages with the exercise, managing stress, and managing sleep, more than 40%. Balanced meals are almost near 40%. So these are the diet, enough sleep, managing stress, they are very important one. But eating breakfast has got a less, but it's a desirable. No smoking, again is there. Not overworking, reduce your working hours. But surprisingly, avoiding alcohol has not been shown to have any effect in the natural killer activities, though socially and mentally it have some effect. Now, before I conclude, I wish to tell you that I have given you many points regarding diet, meditation, and other factors which can be. But wisdom you have to apply. The sum total or my one sermon will be with nature. I can conclude that nature has bestowed us immune system with the strong components, many facets to keep us healthy. Diet intervention, caloric restriction, and circadian rhythms are important interventions which we can. Have junk food after having basic food. That is one of the important ones. And meditation has got tremendous influence on the PNI or the psychoneuroimmunology. Thank you very much for your attention. And now I invite the questions from you and your interactions and your feedback. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sancheti. That was quite an intense look into the immunity, the various levels, how our body provides us immunity, and at even in the internal ones, we have different levels again, where it is through the blood or be it directly in the cells. So the body has provided us, as you're saying, with so much, and we are grateful for this body to have given us so much, and there's so much more we can do. By bad habits we have acquired, some lack of immunity and decreasing immunity, which we can pick up right away, and by food, by exercise, by good sleep, and you've covered everything, and those are the things we all know we have to do, but it is about making that choice of yes, it has to be done. So if you can stop sharing your screen, then I can highlight.
Yeah.
And there are a couple of comments from Dr. Mahesh. He's saying that clove long is a wonderful spice and is it has free radical activity. So if you'd like to comment on that, and I shall try and
See, like all condiments, clove also. It
Yes.
is in Ayurveda, it has been told that, but we really have got a beneficial effect or not. The first thing, it doesn't have got any harmful effect. Second thing, it has got a stimulating effect on our appetite and our digestions. It has got, but whether by itself it has got an anti-immune or immunogenic property or not, that has yet to be proved.
Okay. See, it seems like we are almost like science is chasing up the wisdom which has been passed on through the ages, but the time and the time cycle is such that people need these scientific reasons, especially the younger generation now. They need this scientific explanation to make more sense for it than to blindly follow it. Though who are more seasoned people like us, we know that where the benefit lies is in the wise world and the old wives' tales. We must follow. Also, there is a question from Dr. R.K. Kinvasara. He's quality of food in gaining immunity. In this world, we have some organic foods, but not everything is organic. What is your opinion on that?
Yeah, organic food, by definition or by its meaning, it means it doesn't have got the pesticides. That's the basic. So what we had told earlier,
some organic foods available in UK, but not so much all around the world. So, what do you, how big a role is it playing on the immunity? Because we have pesticides and fertilizers and so many toxins coming through our foods. So, how can we avoid that? Or
you see, the one thing is that pesticides and chemicals, they have to be flushed out from the body. And this causes a stress on the immune system and it weakens it. So in the short term, it may not have a bad effect, but in the long term, it is going to have. So that is the one. So organic food. So my last slide, bottom of the balance, I said, be with nature. I think that answers the.
So So you were highlighting so that we don't use so much. Like it's not in our hands, but we can do homegrown foods, but there's so much only we can do with that. But go with organic foods or with non-fertilizing foods or the less pesticides.
Remove the pesticides as much as possible.
Do you think when we peel the fruit or the vegetable, most of the pesticide come in, and we should make it a habit of peeling before eating, or it does not matter?
No, peeling in fact, skin of the fruit, most of the fruits are edible.
Yes,
they are highly nutritious. They are highly nutritious. So by peeling it, we peel it because it is contaminated with the pesticides or the chemicals. That's all. So the answer is very simple, that if you have got a organic or a clean food, it's better to have with the skin.
Okay. Yes. So if we can clean our foods by vinegar or something, there's a lot of they say you can get rid of pesticides if you soak it in vinegar water and then consume it so that you get rid of the pesticides. But it is an extra activity for the.
It is not only an extra; it may not be complete also.
Okay. So best to peel the food and to consume it then, unless you know it's an organic and a pure food. Okay, so there's another question from Sarita ji, who's asking, why do you think there's growth of allergies?
Growth of?
Sarita ji is asking, growth of allergies. Allergies बहुत बढ़ रही हैं.
Allergy, okay. Because we are having the too much noxious or the abnormal substances in our environment. We are inviting them by various contaminants, be chemical, biological, or the physical contaminants. We are having too many contaminants in our, so the body has to reject it. If it rejects in the faster way or in a aggressive way, it causes allergy.
Say,
We all have to reject it.
for example, milk allergy. Many children today have milk allergies, and it's either showing in their skin or in their, or mostly in their skin, it's showing. So would you say that they should go off milk, like come off cow's milk? Or do you think, would you recommend that they find another form of milk? And because the allergy is coming, mostly it's seemingly coming that it's because of cow's milk. One doesn't know for sure.
It's basically the lactose intolerance. Basically, it's a lactose intolerance, which causes a problem. So those who are intolerant to lactose, they should go to the alternate form of the milk, maybe the camel milk, or maybe the other milks, and so, or pre-digested milk. These are also.
Yes, there's a lot of milks available now, like soya milk, oat milk,
yeah, correct. So
almond milk. So maybe those would be a better option. But one thing very important, which I found was very interesting, was that the circadian cycle, that nighttime eating, that how the younger generation now, they don't have such a regulated time, and how that itself is having an effect on the immunity. So I think that is a very important, and it's been researched as well. So that gives us a lot of confidence that we must go back to.
It supports what Jainism was saying long time. Right?
Yes, absolutely. Okay, there's one more question from Dinesh ji, who's asking, apart from diet, what else can help to control diabetes?
To control the diabetes, diet and the physical activity, these are the important one. Other than this one, like even in the diet also, there are plenty of modifications. From the simple carb to the complex carb is the desirable one. Now there is a option. Either you go for the intermittent feeding, or some people say intermittent fasting is equally important in these people. And some people have come to the total fasting as a cure for diabetes. We have to research on this one.
Yes, but I've heard a lot of positive cases where intermittent fasting and complete fasting has made shown big results, but it's not so easy, I think, with everyone. But otherwise, as you said, complex carbohydrates like oatmeal really helps, and regular exercise. And from simple sugars to complex sugars, even if we can do that much, it will have some effect.
My advice to them will be not to become fed of any particular diet. Be liberal, widespread, because even if you take oil, it has to be 2 to 4 types of the oils. If you take dals, legumes, it has to be 4 or 5 types of the dal in a month. Not that every time you take moong dal.
Oh, yes.
No. So you have to have a mix of everything. So not to become fed of the soya or the second point is that there is nothing like harmful. It is how much moderation are you attending it.
That's a very important point. Yes. The fad diets takes us to extreme sides, and it puts undue pressure on the body as well. So, just to be wise with the food and follow the simplicity of life, I think.
And you may not stick for a long time. You may do away with the practice.
Yeah, the fads, we cannot keep on going with them for a long time. So would there be any more questions for Dr. Sancheti? There's a lot of diet is something which we all struggle for, women for their own reasons, for weight. We all go through our hormonal ups and downs, and our weight also fluctuates with that. We struggle with that. It has an effect directly on immunity as well, on our digestion and our moods at the same time. For men, I'm sure it's not so highlighted, but we're all going through the same thing. So please pose your questions to Dr. Sancheti, and he's here to take more questions. There was something else I made a note of, that like this nighttime eating, which you've scientifically shown that how it affects us. But is there anything more you can tell us so that we can tell the younger generation, like, that how, in some more simple terms, that how could we avoid it and what would happen in long term?
The nighttime eating, I was really worrying before I came to the scientific aspect. I was worrying on the social aspect as well. That the good habit is there in the Westerns. Though we are always blaming them that they are.
Mm-hmm.
And we say we are good, we are good.
Yes.
But they are more nearer to the circadian rhythms. See, they complete their dinner by 6 to 7.
Yes.
The second point is physical activity. We, after having the dinner at 10 o'clock, we go to the bed or to the chair. We don't move out of that. They are famous with the dances and the going for a long walk. So circadian rhythm is one of the important points, which we were there, we left it, and now we are going to copy it.
Yes, and that's how it goes round and round. But yes, the sooner we realize and the sooner we adapt. Would anybody like to pose a question directly so I can unmute them? And it was a wonderful, I think, awakening of knowledge, that how we can stay true to our Jainism at the same time and stay true to our health. And in this, especially in these COVID times where we are all just looking to increase our immunity, there are very simple ways where we can do that. So if, thank you again, Dr. Sancheti. I have not had any other requests for questions. And we can call it a close.
Okay.
There's one more question. Sorry, I missed out. Sorry. This is, what about consuming 5 grams of white butter? Safed makhan? This question is from Dr. Mahesh.
Yeah. Now, truly speaking, I have got to know difference between the yellow butter or the white butter or anything. Any butter in any form, which is not fresh, has got all the meanings, same meanings. So the white butter by itself doesn't protect you from all the harmful effects. It may be a minor one, or to my mind, it is basically industry-driven. White butter, if you are talking about the fresh butter, which we are homemade, or the fresh butter taken out from the milk or the charge.
Okay.
That's a different issue. But the white processed butter and the yellow processed butter, I think it's a basically industry gimmick.
So what does the fresh homemade butter has, which gives us increased immunity?
Yeah, because it gives you all the essential fatty acids and fat soluble vitamins. So it helps us in the immunity.
Okay. There's another question coming up. This is from Dr. Kim Vasara. Any food items which prevents dementia?
If person has got a balanced diet and balanced activities, I don't think any food is needed. If we go into the phylogenetically or developmentally, no animal needs other than the basic food. Similarly, the human being, it develops dementia because of the various toxins or the environmental factors or the mental activities which comes into the play, and not because of the deficiencies. It's only when the deficiency comes into the play. So there are many things starting from the Chyavanprash, to the almonds, to all the nuts which are there, then all the vitamins. So all the good things have been labeled or included in the diet, which prevents dementia, but no conclusive proof.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Vandami is here. Vandami, there you are. I'm going to make Vandami co-host, and she would like to say.
There is one question from Dr. Mahesh.
हाँ जी, एक minute. कौन सा? हाँ, what should be time interval between dinner and breakfast? Dr. Mahesh, thank you very much for your question. So
It's what the current fancy is. They call it TRF, time restricted feeding, in which you have the feeding for the 6 to 8 hours and the fasting for the balance, that is around 16 hours or the 14 hours. So these are the way, the TRF or the time restricted feeding. So in this way, perhaps what we were practicing in the Jain, complete your dinner by 6 to 7 and have the first meal at 9 o'clock. That is a precise the time which is being now driven or popularized by the Westerners. We were already having it. So the 14 to 16 hours is an ideal period between the first meal of the day and the last meal of the day. I hope I have been able to explain it.
yes, yes, sorry, my attention went to a phone call from Vandami. Vandami, I am trying to locate you so that I can unmute you. Thank you from Dr. Mahesh to you, Dr. Sancheti. And I shall ask Dr. Mahesh to also unmute himself. Vandami, आप कौन से उसमें I'm not able to find you to unmute you. I thought I made you co-host. So please, so Dr. Mahesh, I hope that helped to answer your last question. That what should be the time interval between dinner and breakfast? Something good. Okay. And oh my, I cannot see when.
No, he has written, got it.
Unmute everyone. Everyone would be able to unmute themselves. So here it is for Vandami. You should be able to unmute yourself. वंदामी नमनसामी, आप अपने आप को अनम्यूट कर सकते हैं?
नहीं,
हाँ, आ गई, वॉइस आ गई. हाँ जी, बोलिए. We can hear you.
Om Arham. First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Sancheti and Dr. Sancheti. He is like one who has a legacy of this long-term research, long-term connection with Jainism, Tapasya, and deep dive in his own subject, that is his mastery, but also in meditation and also in fasting. So his research itself has so many evidences, and he produced some papers. So those who are really interested, they can see his research as well. And really, we have, means every year, Dr. Sancheti used to come in London because his son is here, Prashant. But like due to this corona, he is not able to travel. But really, through this virtual meeting, we are seeing you. Last year you did, and this year. So again, JVB is really very, very much thankful, not too thankful, but you are a blessed soul by the Gurudev Mahapragya Ji. And really, I remember his statement, like these scientists and doctors, I can see a picture of rishis in them. And the same thing we can see in you, that you have your goal in the seva of humanity, and that is coming through various aspects of Jainism. So we really wish you a very happy and peaceful journey in your life, that you can make more people to Jainism in the way of eating, in the way of fasting, in the way of meditating, because people believe in research. People believe in evidences, and which you can provide very well. We have agmas and we have legitimization by Acharya and Gandharas. So our words, we always put up, okay, this is the word of Mahavir, this is the word of Gautam Swami or Sudharma Swami, but here your research through the instrument, so younger generation and educated people are always need some evidence. So really it is a lot useful to making Jainism more alive, more palatable, and more usable. So again, thanks and blessings, Dr. Sancheti. Omara.
On a last note from Dr. Mahesh, he's requesting you to do a systemic research, you might have read it, on COVID and Jain community and how the morbidity and the mortality because of the lifestyle of the Jain community. So again, thank you very much. Vandami, if you can finish the session with a Mangal Path, and bahut bahut anumodna for this presentation. बंदामी मंगल पाठ से खत्म कर समापन कर दीजिए. I'm sorry, I think Vandami has logged off. She's not able to hear. So thanking from the whole JVB London community.
अर्चना जी YouTube में है क्या ये?
This is being recorded so it can be put in later.
Okay, thank you, बहुत अच्छा था इसलिए